Hello again, I'm Julia Hartstein, spiritual healer. I wanted to discuss a little bit about my order of Melchizedek and Melchizedek because some people may have heard of this and they may not have, and I just wanted to give a little information and background. I am ordained in the Order of Melchizedek by Dan Chesbrough, and he's not very well known. You kind of find out about him. He doesn't really advertise what he does. He'd been called many years ago by Melchizedek and said, calling the priests. All right. Interestingly enough, again, I didn't look for him per se and or getting ordained. I had been interested in the little bit I knew about Melchizedek before that, and then from one spiritual person, actually I believe, because there's a few people in Long Island, and that's how I'm originally from Queens, New York, how I found out about him and that he ordains in the Order of Melchizedek, and I was very interested. I actually met somebody who was ordained by him and spoke very highly of him, so I went and did that. And he's written some books too that talks about it a little bit, and reading he had given us, so I wanted to mention those books as well. And one that I didn't pull out that I'm going to pull out right now, don't mind the back of my head. Alrighty. So, the Order of Melchizedek is about Christ consciousness. We are here to bring about, the whole point is Christ consciousness. I am on call 24/7, right? Anybody. There's nobody you turn away ever, which, as far as I'm concerned, even with the spiritual healing I've learned with Pat Longo, I wouldn't do that. That being said, the order also talks about nobody gets turned away. You come, you want healing, you need help, you come. So I'm on call 24/7. Again, it's about Christ consciousness because Melchizedek is the Christ before Christ took a body, right? We know Jesus Christ. I mean, I grew up Catholic. That's my, the Catholic version usually of Jesus Christ. And Jesus Christ was human form, right? We believe God in human form is Jesus Christ. Melchizedek is the Christ, the essence of the Christ, never born of a woman, never died a human death because Melchizedek never took a human form. Melchizedek was here in essence as a soul and supposedly wrote the book of Job. So I'm going to give you a little bit of information about or the books that I was encouraged to read too were written by Dan Chesbrough, and I believe he has other books I have not picked up yet. You can also find these on all of these books that I'm going to show you on Amazon, I believe. The Order of Melchizedek, it talks about what the order is, what we're supposed to be doing. He's also written the Gospel of Thomas, which is also, I highly suggest this. Again, it's about love. Love one another as I have loved you. It's the simplest thing. It's actually the foundation for the Catholic Church. Anybody who grew up Catholic, there are 11 commandments, not 10. The 11th commandment and or first commandment, love one another as I have loved you. It's the foundation. If you do nothing else, you are Catholic. And how we should all be living. If you are I call them Jesus people, right? Because to me, I'm a Jesus person. Love one another as I have loved you. End of. You're not sure you're in a situation, love one another as I have loved you. It is that simple. Not easy to accomplish always, I'll give you that. That's all we're supposed to be doing. So those are two of the books that were recommended. This one is also another one. It's the Books of Enoch by Joseph Lumpkin. I also highly suggest this if you are familiar with archangels. Enoch is Archangel Metatron. Now you'll hear Metatron, Sandalphon. This book you might not be able to get anymore. I just happen to have it. Doreen Virtue wrote this book years ago, Archangels 101, and she talks about the archangels, right? Michael, Gabriel. Most of the angels are EL, meaning of God. Sandalphon and Metatron are ON. Why? Because they lived a human life. They were in human form before they ascended into archangeldom. That is where they ascended. Right, so Enoch is the Archangel Metatron. Just want to give you a little bit of background. As you can see, I have not completely, but this also goes into the angels, the watchers, the Nephilim, old school Bible. So just want to give you an idea of that. Also another book that was recommended, and I highly suggest anything Edgar Cayce, The Story of the Bible, by Robert Krajenke, I believe you pronounce this, Krajenke. And anything, again, Edgar Casey is amazing. As you can see, I have not gotten into this book yet. That being said, if you have time and if you're interested in a lot of the information, you can check that out. Back to Dan Chesbrough as well, because that's some of the reading he suggested. He also suggested this book, which I highly suggest as well. This is an amazing book, What Tom Sawyer Learned from Dying by Sidney Saylor Farr. This is a man who also wound up hearing that call and got ordained by Dan Chesbrough. He had a near-death experience. That's what this book is about. It's one of the most amazing ones I've ever read. And looking back, he was also interviewed, and they did a little story on him there was an old school show called Unsolved Mysteries, if you remember. He's also in clips of that. And Dan Chesbrough is mentioned in this book. So I highly suggest it. I hope I answered a little bit about Melchizedek as well, a little bit of information and why I decided to get ordained. If you have any questions, concerns, you have information, by all means, reach out. I would love to hear from you. I just wanted to give you a little something, and I hope all is well. Love you. Blessings.